So I released a video quite a while ago now, which was my minimalist street photography gear. And there's that buzzword, gear. Everybody loves to talk about gear so much. And I've actually found myself over the past year or so caring less and less and less about gear, to the point where I've tried to strip back what I have so much so that I only really use one camera for pretty much everything that I do. So I thought that I would run you through the gear that I use for street photography. And I am a firm believer in the fact that buying stuff isn't an art form. And I do think that whatever gear you have at the moment, you should utilize that as much as you can, streamline your workflow, your creative process, and go from there. You'll find yourself a much more competent photographer or videographer, regardless of how much gear you're buying. That being said though, a lot of people are interested in what I use to take my street photos, so I thought I'd do a quick run through of everything that I use. It's very minimal. There's only one camera, two lenses, and a couple of things here and there that basically make my life a little bit easier. And also the fact that I've eliminated those previous distractions allows me to think more creatively in the moment, be more decisive, and just make better decisions. But before we get into that, I do just want to address the fact that in my last video, I was using the Fujifilm X100F, and I really enjoyed that camera. I actually sold it recently, and I sold it because I wasn't using it as much as I wanted to, and also I just felt like I have one camera, I have a camera that I use for everything. I use it for video, I use it for photo. Why do I need a second camera? I have always recommended the Fujifilm X100F, and I only recommend things that I've actually used myself. I just didn't want that extra distraction of thinking, should I pick up this camera for this photo? Should I pick up this camera for this photo? Now I have one camera and I go, oh, I'm going to use this one because that's the only one I've got. So you see what I mean about more important decisions and thinking quickly on your feet. I actually sold my Fuji to a company down in Brighton called MPB Photographic. If you haven't heard of them, they buy and sell used camera gear. I would highly recommend them. They're not endorsing this video in any way. They just got an excellent customer service team, and I've always bought and sold gear through them. So I'll leave a link in the description for them. Be sure to check them out. So without any further ado, let's jump into this video and let me show you what I use to take my street photos. So this is the main bag that I use, and I use this bag for pretty much everything now. I use it for work, meetings, travel, uni, photography, everything in between all of those things, and I just don't see the point in investing in another bag at this point. This does everything that I need. It can take all of my stuff, and I actually managed to fit 5 days worth of clothes and gear in this bag on a recent trip to Iceland, so I know that I can take all of my stuff in one carry-on bag, which is really great. So this is a Lowepro Pro Tactic 450. And it's got an AW little tag there. So in here, there's a little raincoat, which is really handy when you're out and about and it starts chucking it down with the rain. We do live in England after all, so that happens quite regularly. And that just stuffs back in there, which is really nice. So that's just hidden away nice and discreet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open it up. And as you can see in here, there's really not much stuff. So if you're a big gearhead, this probably isn't the video for you. I really do not use that much kit, hence the title of the video. I don't see the point in carrying around 101 different cameras with me and lenses, so on and so forth. I'll just run you through this top part here. Reusable bottle. Why aren't you using a reusable bottle already? I don't know. I use this every single day. This is a Systema. I just picked this up in a TK Maxx actually for, I think it was like 10 quid or so. Nice small little cap on the top as well, so I can fill this right up. And I just really enjoy using this bottle. Keeps everything cold. Very good. Just keep that with me wherever I go. No need to buy plastic bottles and waste my money and destroy the environment. This is the Audio-Technica headphones that I use. I cannot remember the name of these. MX50s or something like that. I can't remember. Here we go. It says ATH M50X. So that's the model. And I don't use these for street photography. I know a lot of people like to use headphones when doing street photography and listen to certain types of music to get them in a different creative mood. I just use these for getting in between places. I use them on the tube. Basically, I don't want to spend half an hour on the tube without any music or entertainment or podcasts or anything like that. So I take these with me wherever I go. And this is basically all I'll ever really keep in the top of here. If it's going to rain, I'll take a rain jacket. If it's cold, I'll take a jumper. If I'm out for the whole day, I'll take some food with me, I'll take a packed lunch. That's pretty much it. Up in here, up in this little compartment here, I have my battery bank, and I basically just keep an Anker lightning cable in here, just a short one, and that means I can keep my phone charged on the go, and that always lives in there. Especially if I'm out all day, I don't want my phone dying, especially if I don't really know where I am. But moving on down to the bottom of the bag, I'm just going to very quickly run you through this. I'm not going to do any technical in-depth reviews of any of this kit. I don't see the point in doing that at the moment. This is purely just what I use. So this is my main photo camera, and I use this camera for my video work as well. This is my Nikon D610. I've had this camera for about 5 years now, and it hasn't faulted me. Now, as I mentioned, in my previous minimalist street photography video, I had a Fujifilm X100F, which I sold. Because I was just using this a lot more, I was using this all the time for photo and video work, I didn't really see the point in having a second camera just to confuse myself with. So I sold that, just getting money something else, and basically I just use this all the time, and it works really well for me. Having a full frame sensor with like really good ISO capabilities is just an absolute dream. And I know what people are going to say when I talk about Nikon and video in the same sentence. If you pair your camera with a really sharp Sigma lens like this one, your video looks 10 times better. This does shoot 1080 video, and that's all I ever really need. If I needed to go higher or use anything else, I would hire some kit. But for now, I don't have the funds really to go and splash 5 grand on a whole new setup good for video as well. So I'm just going to keep using this. And on here, I've got the Sigma 24-35, which is currently my favorite lens. I love that zoom range from 24 to 35. That movement is so smooth as well. 24, nice and wide, but not super wide. 28 is quite nice for street photography, and also 35 is as well. And this also allows me to get like sort of closer to a portrait lens as well on this end, but also it's quite good for environmental portraits. And the strap on here is from Topo Designs. I've had this strap for a couple of years now. I think it's made out of climbing rope or something like that, but I find it super comfy. I've used like Peak Design straps and things in the past, but this just seems to work really well. It seems to sit on my shoulder really nicely. And yeah, it's just very hardy, and I've taken this everywhere with me and it hasn't failed me yet. So fingers crossed. Now in here, I have my Sigma 85mm 1.4 lens. And this is almost like my child. I use this lens as often as I can really. It's brilliant for street photography actually, and I'm gonna make a whole video dedicated to shooting on this lens. I've already made street journals based around shooting on an 85, but I didn't go into much detail why I like to shoot with it so much. It's such a minimal lens. It's quite small, but it's quite heavy. Just AF and MF. There's no image stabilization, but to be honest, I don't see the point in that really for photo. Then if we come down here, I've got this, which is a RAV power charger, and you can actually charge Nikon batteries using this. You just have to get the specific type of charger. I'll leave a link in the description, an affiliate link, so if you go and check that out, I get a small commission. But also, this is just a very good piece of kit, and it charges via micro USB. Basically, you cannot charge Nikon cameras or older Nikon cameras via USB, so all you have is HDMI and data out, and just headphone and mic. So, but I don't think the technology was really available when this camera came out. So basically I just bought one of these, and I have a couple of batteries on here. This is a Duracell one, and this is an old one that I dropped and started to crack around the edges, so I put some sellotape on it. Super safe and super convenient. But yeah, that's pretty much all that does, it's just a charger. And then this is just a small hard case. Again, I just got this off Amazon. It's a newer card box, and basically all this is just some gels. Oh, it's like a jelly material, and then I just keep my memory cards in here. You can see where I've scribbled all over the white stuff to tell myself what's on what and what I need to edit on first. So I have 4 of these, which are the SANDISK Extreme Pro 32GB memory cards. I use 4 because the Nikon does have dual card slots. I've taken one out at the moment, and I always back up to the second one. So that's really handy, and one of the main reasons I don't want to move away from this piece of kit. that dual card slot is a must for me. And then up here in the top of the bag, I've just got some ZEISS lens wipes. You can get like 200 of these for like 10 quid on Amazon. I would highly recommend these. These are probably the best ones I've used. Then up here I have some memory cards, and I'm not going to tell you why they look like this because it's my little secret, but if I've ever given you one of these business cards, then you will know why that is white. I just really like this design as well. Very minimal, very me. Somebody said that it looks like the Cards Against Humanity cards, and the moment they said that, that's what I could think about when I saw these cards, so thanks for that. And then also up here there is space for a laptop. I also just keep some papers in here as well. It's quite handy to have some terms and conditions and your rights on you when you're doing street photography as well. But that's pretty much it for my camera bag. As you can see, it's super minimal, very clean layout. I also, just a quick tip, if you're ever like in between how you're laying out your camera bags, the good thing about the Lowepro bags is all of this is Velcro. You can attach Velcro to this, so what I do is I just fold in whenever I'm using the lens attached, and then I can always fold it back out like so if I'm traveling with the lens detached. But I tend to just keep it on there just in case I need to put my camera away quickly with the lens still attached. So I do want to just very briefly revisit my point at the beginning of the video, which was based around that spending money on stuff is not an art form. I do think that a lot of people spend a lot of time buying lots of stuff. That's consumerism in a nutshell, lots of people buying lots of stuff. I've definitely went through that phase where I saw a famous YouTuber would say, oh, you need to buy these 5 things under £50 or whatever, and I would go out and buy them. And before you know it, you've just got so much clutter and so much stuff just floating around the place that you really just do not need and you do not utilize on a day-to-day basis. So I think it's definitely a matter of analysing what you use most regularly, and anything else is basically irrelevant, and you should probably just get rid of it because it's just going to be collecting dust and somebody else could probably use it if they wanted to. But if you're not using it, then what's the point of having it? Refining this setup has allowed me to refine my creative process, and it's streamlined that whole process, allowing me to make faster decisions and better decisions in that decisive moment. The more eagle-eyed of you viewers may have noticed that behind me I've got a website running. Subtle hint. This is my website and you should definitely go and check it out. It's www.samholtphotography.com. Very simple, quick and easy to remember. If you head over to my website, you'll find my blog with loads of images and loads of content for you to enjoy and read, and also a whole bunch of galleries. I'm trying to do this whilst looking in the monitor, it's really not working very well. And you can see my full portfolio of brand content creation and also my own personal work. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching this video. I shall see you in the next one.